Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show, Kickin' It. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Indian Hills Studios in the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. That's Central Florida for all you clowns that don't know where we're talking about here. Chopper City for the people that are in the know. And in the know with me talking about tonight's movie, the 2012 potential comedy disaster piece, martial arts film, starring a hot model named Jennifer C. and Sammo Hung, is the real RDV. Good evening, sir. How are you?
The fact you lined up with a hot model and Sammo Hung.
Am I wrong?
Oh, after seeing her, I would be hung too. But
well, when we had talked before on this show, we stuck with martial arts films and action films because we love them all on Kicking It. But we also noticed that we did a couple films that were a little funny, as opposed to funny, strange. Like I'm thinking Train to Busan, which it was cute, I guess, for what it was. And I don't know if I'd really call it a serious action film. And that's okay. A lot of people seem to like it. Not that a lot of people listen to our review of it because it really wasn't the type of film I think we like and we do. But we made mention in there, RDV, of a very special person that we referred to in the film. Somebody we identified with, we were emotionally invested in as Korean Chuck Norris. Now, when I say Korean Chuck Norris and people watch the film, they know we're talking about this one dude that's a big badass and he's known over there in, was it Chinese, whatever the film was? Korean, Korean film.
Train to Busan, yes.
Yes. So we decided to, in our continuation of the Girls with Guns martial arts films, this time branching out to a more recent one, just to see if there's any difference compared to the 1980s ones we've been doing. We picked one out called whatever the hell this name is here.
Naked Soldier.
Well, Naked Soldiers is the print I've got. It's got some different names. Okay. But it came out in 2012. It's got Sammo Hung in it. And it's got a relatively newcomer to film, an extremely gorgeous, tall model named Jennifer C. I think is how you pronounce it. TSC is her last name.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts, Doctor, is it's not a bad film. It's a different kind of martial arts film. It's a type of martial arts film that, honestly, while I can watch it, I don't kind of care for it. And the number one reason is this. It's not Sammo Hung's fight scenes, even though he's older in this film, or a bunch of the women in here fighting, because I think that's awesome, and they're very stylish. It's two things, really. The biggest thing is wire work. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know some people are. People love Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. To me, that was a snooze fest. I can't. I know the fight choreography is staged, but I still like a little bit more of the tumbling and all that stuff. I just hate all this wire work. It drives me nuts.
I understand but I knew going into this movie this was probably what this was going to be because you get closer to the 2000s in the it starts going into that more of that stuff. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The reason I don't like feudal era Japan, I like, modern stuff. So I figured, well, this guy guns, he's got Sammo Hung in it. It's like, it's going to be corny, but it's going to be at least decent. Like, you can at least watch it, and it actually and some of the parts bring a smile to your face. There's some of the actors and actresses.
Yeah, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. It's a decent film.
Father's daughter pissed kung fu at the end.
Well, let it be known that this is, I think, a part of a trilogy, and the films kind of went over a while, so we are going out of order.
Yes.
I think picking out just to kind of do a compare and contrast versus, like I say, the other Girls with Guns ones we've done, like My Lucky Stars, for example. To me, the second big thing, RDV, and I'm half joking when I say this, but half serious too, it's there's those damn Chinese communists that edit everything, because the title's called what? Naked Soldier.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that the soldiers are female assassins, even though it's a blatant ripoff of like Hannah and all those other ones that people were doing in the 90s. But that's okay. I don't care about that. And I don't think she does a bad job in this film either, too. But it's hard to judge how good she is with the wire work. Nobody gets naked. Thank you, Chinese. You give me a title called Naked Soldier. You don't give me any naked soldiers. What's the deal?
But we do get a pool scene here in this movie, and of course,
a pool scene with the BBC about to break out, if you know what I'm saying. Don't say what that is.
This guy thinks he's gonna get lucky, and instead he gets a girl, and he basically Batista bombs her into the pool.
Yeah, it's a cool scene.
When I saw that in a trailer, I popped. I was like, dude, I want to watch this, because I was like, come on, really? I'm like, so basically the gist of this is that there's this woman. The name is Madame Rose. She's basically abducting girls or children, and then brainwashing them, and making them turn them into assassins. And so, and this,
Female assassin.
well, no, there was a guy in here.
He looked
There
like
was,
a girl.
yeah. Wow, it's more like the Idol, you know.
Well, it's probably the beginning of K-pop, so we'll just leave it at that.
And K-pop didn't happen until later, too, like 2017.
Just saying.
Well, anyway, so so they basically they took Samuel Hung's character. He used to work for Interpol. He took down intercepted Madame Rose's shipment of heroin. She thought she was going to China just smuggle heroin and his job, his cop. They intercepted the heroin, and he said it was pretty easy and stuff. He went to Seattle, or not Seattle, but I guess somewhere in the United States, California or whatever.
I believe it was Florida, actually.
Oh, could have been. Who knows?
Yeah, who cares?
But the point is that Madame Rose, with a head of vendetta, she's upset. She came in and basically raided the place, killed his wife, kidnapped his daughter, left him for dead. He fought on. Yes. Takes and then the next thing we see his daughter hooked up to some horrible virtual reality device, and they're like it's like strobe light flashing. And
the dialogue's so bad. She's like, "No, don't kill her. I like this one."
It's like, well, she didn't sound like Jean-Claude Van Damme, but the dialogue it's English, and dubbed, and there's only a couple people who actually know how to speak English in most of these movies. Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan were usually the main ones. Or Donnie Yen. But I can't remember if this is a DMB production or not, or this is just, one he just starred in. But
I just starred in it. I don't.
It's Mega Vision Pictures. It's on his own company.
Right.
But anyway, so they kidnap his daughter, turn her into this assassin, and that was back in 1980 when this happened. So like in 1992, the next thing we see her, Phoenix. After you introduce all these, the Charlie's Angels, and they send them off on their missions. Well, after she does all this, she kills her target because the whole point was that Madame Rose wants to kill all these 5 huge drug lords, and they're working together, and it's a threat to all the other people who want to be on the black market criminals. So she sends her girls to take them out. They're like, and they got the Charlie's Angels, the little cutscene, you have 1, 2, 3 walking at the same time, they're all going through the missions. Yes, I really got the whole tough girl thing. Engleby describes, I'm a tough girl. I'm skinny. I don't have any muscles. I got that vibe with that, especially with the one girl, the one that was in the pool. I was thinking, okay, yeah, sure. The only equalizer she had was the knife, because she was gonna die, but I was satisfied when they introduced the 2 other guys, other assassins, when she went to go shopping. I was like, wait, she got to take out these guys too? No, she got her ass kicked. And I was like, wow, geez, they actually did something real, because she would have got her ass kicked and she died. But the action scenes here are like you said, some of it's wires, but some of it actually is, especially with Sammo Hung. It's actually.
I don't think he did the choreography. I would call it like. I don't know if you would agree with this. I don't know if slick's the word that I keep thinking in my mind. Like they're trying to be slick. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, like Sammo Hung, whenever he fights, you can tell it stands out from all the other ones. He's not doing the whole flying, in the air.
Yeah.
No, he's on the ground. He's going with arms and legs and all, kicking. Yeah. And we get to see the couple times, especially my favorite scene in this whole entire movie was with him and his stepdaughter or daughter that he adopted. When they're going to eat dinner, she got bad grades. He said, "Well, you don't eat rice today." And the chopsticks. They're fighting back and forth, he's trying to grab the chicken. That was I popped for that too. I was like, wow, because that's classic Sammo Hung. That's Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan would do something like that with him. So obviously he spent the past 15 years. He never gave up hope that his daughter, that she was alive. Every birthday he lit a candle and stuff. He'd watch her like home movies.
Sounds like Marked for Death.
Kind of, doesn't it?
Is that the one where he almost died and came back? The Jamaican ones. Also sounds like Universal Soldier.
Yep.
Also sounds like Nikita. Also
Not
sounds
the
like
key.
it also sounds like the Nikita remake. Yeah, street wave that they take off and she comes in
Uh,
this.
it sounds
Wait,
like it sounds like everything I like into one movie, and I was happy. That's what it sounds like.
Mission Impossible 3, the TV show Nikita, both starred Maggie Q, correct?
Yes.
And what is Maggie Q known for? Looking
The
extremely
fu-
thin and being incredibly athletic, acrobatic and kicking ass and looking very stylish. I find it very interesting that Jennifer C, who was a model, she's tall, she's like 5'8", 5'9". I read that she got her degree in psychology in Canada or something like that. But when I saw a couple of interviews with her, she speaks really fluent English. She seems very well educated, well spoken. Um,
Mhm.
she's not done anything for a couple of years because she just had a baby. Won't say who the father is. People said it was Jeremy Renner, and I'm like, no, he's too much of a simp for her, even though I kind of like him. So I don't know. She just is one of those, women that wants to have it all and spend time on her kid, because she definitely, I thought, in her fight scenes, despite the wire work and my objection to it, came across as somewhat believable, but it has to be in this kind of a slick, stylish sort of movie. She's not anywhere near the type of movies that we've talked about that have that 80s style, whether
Yeah.
Samo directed the action or not. And to me, it's not bad, but it's a different kind of film. But that being said, just because somebody's good looking, you put them on film, what you see when you take pictures doesn't necessarily
Well,
translate in film too well. But I thought she actually did a good job, and I thought they took a risk
yeah,
with her.
we've both seen where they take the hot actress and put her into a action movie, and there you go, it's just gonna sell. Yeah, that was called Barbed Wire, and the reason it sold because because Pamela Anderson went topless. That was the only reason, and because guns, as But even then, people went and bought that movie. People went on Blu-ray. People still pop for that because it was based off a comic book movie, and it's Pamela Anderson back when she used to look good. Now, some people don't like Pamela Anderson, so it all depends on what you like, because that's what they're going for. Is that some people are gonna hate these movies because they're so low budget and they're so over the top. They're so kind of so hokey, but yet some people enjoy that. Like I said, I'm one of those people. I've seen horrible stuff. And I'm not talking about horrible movies. I'm not talking about horror movies. I'm talking about I've seen Jessica Jones season 3. If you can get better than that, dude, I actually might watch it. I mean,
Yeah, in this movie, what I thought it did successfully too is that
well,
it wasn't dominated, I would say, by Samuel. I didn't feel that way to me watching it.
well,
I'm glad, but he's obviously a screen presence, and sometimes you go, oh well, even if somebody that's got the pedigree he does in this film, you think might overtake it. And I don't. I'm not going to say I think that he did. Maybe it's because he didn't direct it or didn't do the choreography, or maybe just because of his age, he decided to take a step back. And I really don't know the whatever happened behind screen for, like we sometimes do with American films. So to
yeah,
me, like I say, the idea of female assassins, okay, that's cute, detective that almost died and blah, all right, whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like you said, there's enough little different scenes here. The pool scene's pretty neat. The chopsticks is cool. For me, I thought obviously this did kind of follow the successful Hong Kong formula of what we've talked about before from the 80s. And even though this is in 2012 and things are different, they did start off with some really good action, but then they did spend also a lot of time at the end with a bunch of fight scenes, like we've talked about too. Start off with a bang. Whatever happens in the middle happens, and then
Yeah.
at the end you get the big, kabang. And I thought
I
that was pretty good.
I thought it was better than the last movie we watched. It wasn't In the Line of Duty. It was the other one we watched. So what was it? It was what was the one we just watched with the five guys? My Lucky Stars. I think that's the one we just reviewed.
Well, we no,
This was much better, and I'm not saying this because the girls on the screen, but you know what you're going in for this movie. When you see the trailer, or even you know it. It's hot girls. You're getting guns. You're gonna get martial arts. It's 2012. 2012, like I said, the 80s. Even then they could still do better movies, even though it'd be kind of hokey. This was more hokey, but like I said, it's not like you're not expecting to be over the top, awesome, amazing. There are certain scenes in here, and Sammo Hung, like I said, his scenes, I guess, makes the movie better. If you're not because some of the girls in here, the assassins are like, really, wow, but Jennifer to say, she, of course, through the movie, she's having flashbacks, because because originally when they were doing her erasing her memory when she was like 10 years old, they basically it said they had to raise it up to 12 because she was resisting.
Hmm.
So every night for the past all these past years, she's been having bad dreams, and she the little beads or little things, necklace, gold necklace. And then when she finally sees that Samuel Hung, when she goes to kill him, it's her next job is to go kill her own father. She doesn't know it's her father. She sees it, and then she starts having more flashbacks. So it's like I said, it was an enjoyable movie for me. I was not really that bored. I've been bored through movies, and I gotta say, I think it was In the Line of Duty number 2 or 3. I'm not sure which one it was. It was one. It might have been 3. I think it's it was 3. The one before we watched with Donnie Yen. That one was the first thing that got one. That was to me that was just completely just gone. I just didn't want to watch it. I was the point where I was like, hey, what's on TV? You know. I didn't get that from this movie. I got it's like it's fast paced. It's gonna be over. And even though it's hour and 30 minutes, it goes by fast. So yeah,
I think for me, just again, it's a good movie. It's a little different. Um, I don't mind slick and stylish. Actually, the wire work thing that bothers me is that like in the end scenes too, where the two ladies are fighting, it's kind of cool because it's well
yeah.
choreographed, but it's like it's overly choreographed. When they're falling to the ground, it's in slow motion, so that way they can do that one kind of land that looks like the Roman Reigns punch now, which looks really stupid and dumb, and
Superman
you
punch.
know yeah, I mean, it's just kind of lame. But the thing that's cool about it is the setup. They're fighting, on this elevated platform. It really just looks. It's really just
It's the
a
training
piece of
compound.
wood over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course there's glass at the bottom in case somebody accidentally falls.
And
So
then,
it's
well, not only
neat.
that, there's different squares, and all full with broken glass, but on each peg and the thing in the middle there's knives sticking up. So I'm like, wow, that's very brutal.
Well, the thing that gets me with the wire work is the jumping is like it what it does to me is instead of just allowing myself to be memorized by the flow and the count of however this scene has been choreographed, whether it's switching weapons or the pause or when somebody gets the little blood on the corner of their cheek and their lip and they stop and they look at it on their knuckle, then they look at you and go, like good one, and then they come and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
The little pauses in there that make you kind of gather your breath and wait for what they're going to deliver to you next is there's definitely, and at least in some of the scenes to me, very obvious where they sped it up, but then also, like I say, with the slowing down of the wire work and all that, it really takes me out of the suspension of disbelief in what's going on. And I know that they're tumblers. I know that they're this and that, but some of the stuff that we talked about with Jackie Chan, like just climbing up something, in the middle of an amusement park while
Yeah.
they're looking for bad guys, I like to just watch that, even though it's only a 10 or
I
15
agree.
second scene. Even though it's so ridiculous that groups of ninja come out there in the middle of a theme park. Yes, that's ridiculous, totally unbelievable, but it fits with what they're doing. Here, they're having two ladies fight, and it's this beautiful, extravagant fight. It's ninja style where everybody comes in one at a time with the other fight that's going on. Nobody's really getting hurt. It's not brutal. It's too fluid. It's like AEW wrestling, Botch City.
Right?
I'm joking. No, but it's a slick film, and that's the thing that you have to know going into it, because what you said was absolutely perfect. If you saw the trailer for this, you knew what kind of film you were going to be seeing when you go see it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just my preference lies towards more of the more believable physical type of action stuff in it too. So when we did My Lucky Stars or some of the other films recently, I tend more towards those, even if the women aren't necessarily models that they decided to try to make an action star or whatever. And that's not a knock on Jennifer C. I think she did fine for what she was supposed to do. Obviously, she hasn't done a lot. Maybe she'll do more, depending on, I guess, what goes on with her raising her kid. She probably doesn't need the money, but there's something to be said for a woman that kicks ass. It's just when you watch Nikita, back in the early 90s, and then the reboot, and then Hannah, and then this, it's like, I guess every 110-pound model walking the street can kick every guy's ass.
Well, have you seen Men Today? It's not that hard now these days. A lot of them are hiding behind masks and just complain about everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure some of the women here could probably kick their ass.
Yeah, LK's got a comment in there about saying I prefer stylish over slick and smooth. And I think that, I think the difference is stylish is, the old classic James Bond suit, it didn't stand out. When you wear like an old suit, for example, people shouldn't be looking at your suit and going, man, that's a great suit. The suit should be, the color and the cut should be picked out so it fits your form well. So it's not a distraction from your face. You want it to do the opposite. And a lot of people want stuff that stands out, it's flashy, or they, God forbid, don't have the half inch around their cuffs on both arms. That drives me nuts when I see people wearing a suit. 90% of people get it wrong, or even worse, they walk around wearing a damn tie at a bar or something, and it's just ridiculous. But when someone's got style, it is timeless. And I've always joked and made fun of Pierce Brosnan as Bond because I don't believe the physicality, and that's why they went with guns a lot. I do like Pierce, but I think he brought the style and sexy up of Bond, a really, really big notch. So when you have a martial arts film, unfortunately, I think the price you pay is that when you've grown up on a lot of the more physical type action where people really look like they're getting their ass beat or they're really tumbling it and it looks really difficult. When you get something slick and stylish, it's hard to take it more serious. And when you have a model that's coming in and doing it, it's really, really hard to go, okay, I believe it. Now, you mentioned Charlie's Angels earlier. Obviously, that's the type of film that you go, okay, I'm not supposed to take it seriously. That's fine. But in a movie like this, you're right. Maybe it's the Chinese equivalent of Charlie's Angels because God knows it's a ripoff of all these other movies we mentioned.
Well, I'll just say this. Maybe we have to go back to the other two movies. The first one being came out in '92, Naked Killer. It's like when Naked Weapon. Naked Weapon is the one that has Maggie Q in it, and I wouldn't mind watching that. I loved actually the from Nikita was actually pretty good, only because most of the time she was using the gun, so it was more believable. Or this is like, yeah, skinny little girl is like, I'm a little pop idol princess, and I'm like, pow pow pow, you're dead. I was like, what? It's like a little 5'3" is gonna take out a guy who's they're all doing martial arts, and she's barely like her arms is like really late skinny. I was like, unless she's hitting pressure points, she's screwed. But and like I said, I like the fact that even though for the little girl in the pool scene, they gave her the knife because otherwise, there's no way she was going to be able to kill him.
Yeah, I think my final thoughts for the film are: it's a decent film. It's not bad. I'm not going, ooh, go see it. But it's not really a bad film. And it's interesting to see Jennifer, in her first time to me, seeing her in something, to see her in this role, and the whole setup with female assassins is always kind of cool. But at the same time, too, like I say, it's different. We have not talked about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. To me, I think it's completely overrated. It's all wire work. It's forgettable because of that. And while it's slick and stylish and a period piece, people like it. I don't know if that film, because of its popularity, kind of revigorated the use of wire work. It seemed like
it did. Crouching Hidden Dragon. It said it's more for the story than it is the martial arts, because the martial arts in there, like I said, it's all wire stuff. It's not none of it's like you see with Jackie Chan or anything like that. It is choreographed, but it's all like Peter Pan stuff, and so basically you're going there if you're looking for the feudal Japan era. You're going there for the story. You're not going for the fighting, because the fighting is kind of like okay, it's like marionettes, kick each other in the air. It's like, no, I don't want to see that. But no. Definitely check this movie out. If you even if you're a little curious, it's not gonna hurt. It's if you were looking to kill time, definitely. And the fact that it's actually a third movie in a trilogy, and it's actually good. Wow.
Yeah, and I think after Mission Impossible 3, I think that was the one that had Maggie Q in it. I remember her in the dress scene in the Vatican or whatever. I don't know who she is, but she was very elegant looking. I think Jennifer's the Hong Kong equivalent of Maggie Q, if you want to look at it like that. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it seemed to be that way, and who cares if it's derivative? It worked for what they were doing. I think that seeing Maggie Q and maybe some earlier stuff like that might be interesting to your point. So I'm sure we'll probably check that out too. It's always interesting to see how people are presented, because we want that sense of believability. And I know, like, for example, and I always bring him up too, because it's a contrarian point of view, but Seagal gets a lot of crap for being a jerk, but he's legit for what he does in his field, where somebody like Van Damme, he's just super pretty and he's good looking and all that. And I know a lot of people over the years used to dispute whether or not he actually did real kickboxing or karate or not, despite his record. but everyone's got their thing that works. And for this third movie in a trilogy, with us not having reviewed the first two, I'm not even comparing it to those, so I don't want to give any knocks for it. I just want to sit there and say that, yeah, it's a decent film. It's pretty slick. It's not horrible. It could be worse. I don't think they're trying to not be slick and trying to fool us. That would piss me off too. And that was the kind of comment that I was thinking about what LK had put in here, preferring stylish over slick. You can have slick as long as you know it's slick. They know it. They're trying to be slick, and you both have that kind of understanding that, hey, this is going to be a one-night movie, Stan, and we're going to be slick about it. Don't tease me and try to be stylish and all that. Don't be more than what you're going to be. And it doesn't do that. So I would agree with you. Samuel definitely adds to the movie. Without him in it, this might feel a bit thin. But overall, I would agree. It's watchable. Any final thoughts for you?
Well, my final thoughts is I got to go watch Mission Impossible 3. I've never watched that one. I skipped it because I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Turned me around on the franchise.
I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman on there, and I was like, I don't think so. I'm just not into that guy.
Great movie. Yeah, and Maggie Q's in that too. So yeah, so we'll see more about Jennifer, huh?
I was just gonna say, I remember watching the second one with the motorcycles, and I was like, yeah, I'll skip. I didn't come back to what Ghost Protocol, or whatever the fourth one is.
Yeah, but it's John Woo, so Woo has a style, and if you know what it is, you can expect those. But the crossover was, I think, unfamiliar to a lot of people in American audiences, and us being Americans, take a look at some of these films is one of the things that we like to do here on the Xtreme Movie Show. So let me say thanks for listening, LK, everybody else who showed up here, checking things out too. We're going to continue on with that. We got Top 10 Tuesday coming up here in a little bit, where for 1985, we are going to, as a side kind of top 10, instead of doing our usual top 10 movies of 1985, we are only focusing on the top 10 horror films of 1985. So that'll be an interesting discussion, but we'll have that link up here shortly. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing and getting the word out about the Xtreme Movie Show. That's the biggest thing that if you like what we do, can really help us a lot. So getting eyes on it, and so that way the audience may grow too. You dissing the John Woo Mission Impossible? I just said it was a John Woo film. That's all I'm going to say.
No one's dissing John Woo. I'm just dissing Philip Seymour Hoffman because I just didn't like him as an actor.
You know what I have to say about what you just said?
You know what he felt like? He felt like
woo, 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 you know it.
Woo, woo.
On that note, guys, stay extreme. Have a good one.